Welcome to the Spiritual Billionaire podcast, hosted by me, Jocelyn Luco Sandstrom, a quantum manifestation and mindset mentor and coach. This podcast is your guide to aligned abundance and exponential growth. Explore transformational quantum energy sessions and conversations with visionary leaders, unlocking a life of alignment, purpose, and flow. Discover the tools, strategies, and energetic shifts to transcend limitations, activate your next level, and rise as a spiritual billionaire, becoming the one that creates and invests in businesses, nonprofits, and leaders that are transforming the world. Welcome to this week's episode. In this episode, we are going to be doing downloads to support you to step further into your spiritual billionaire, release what's no longer serving you, and see what's coming up that you get to download to quantum leap into your next level. In this quantum energy session, we'll be utilizing my fractals, and in each fractal, there's over 1 million downloads. And so once I pull the fractals, I'll let you know what comes up, and then I'll download you through your C1 vertebrae and any acupuncture point, pressure point in your body and shift it out instantly. So I already did pull the fractals, and I'll let you know what came up, and then I'll download you. So the first fractal that came up was lost gain. So as a spiritual billionaire, we know that there's no such thing as losing or gaining, because sometimes we have to lose things in order to gain things. Sometimes we have to make space for the big thing that's about to drop in. If we're holding on so tight and we're so afraid of losing, we can't make space for the next thing to drop in. One of the things that comes up when I think about this fractal is when I first started my business, I just wanted any clients until I realized what I'm focusing on. My business is focused around the spiritual billionaire. It's for the people that are going the extra mile. It's for the people that have these big visions that they're bringing into this reality, that are here to quantum leap, that are here to innovate. And so once I got laser focused on that, it wasn't about loss or gain anymore. It was about, okay, how do I get squeaky clean in my energy? How do I get to become the version of me that gets to hold space for these visionary leaders? Who do I get to become? What leaps do I get to take? And then it's about trusting and knowing that who's meant to come in my world came into my world at the exact moment that they're meant to come into this world. And if they're meant to leave, it's because they're meant to leave. So there was no scarcity around it anymore. It's just like, I know the vision I'm holding. I know the space I'm holding. How do I make this as potent as possible? And then how do I trust in the ebbs and the flows of people that come and go? So the more that you can really release any attachment to losing or gaining and just get into the flow and the knowing and the alignment that things are going to come in the divine timing and things are going to leave in the divine timing because something bigger is coming your way. The next fractal that's coming up is opposite. So the more that you want something, the more that you have expectations, you create limitations, which create the opposite result. The more that you hope for something or you're afraid that it doesn't work out, you create resistance. And a lot of time that resistance creates the opposite. If you also resist what's here and you just want to get here and you are not happy where you're at right now, that also creates resistance, which creates the opposite, which keeps you stuck here because what you resist persists. And so to me, this fractal and just overall is once I learned how to really just detach from everything, and I'm not a master at this, I'm practicing this still every single day, but the more that I master this, the more that things flow, the more that I'm just completely neutral to the outcome, the more that I'm in my knowing that my dreams and my visions are inevitable. Because my dreams and my visions are my soul showing me what it came here to experience in this life. And so it's showing me the roadmap of where I'm going. If I just trust in my sacred yeses, my sacred no's, I take aligned action every single day and I never give up. If I stay in my lane and I take the leaps, I'll get there. And so the more that I know that, the more that I can just surrender to letting my soul take me on a ride beyond my wildest dreams. Because if I let my conditioned mind drive, my conditioned mind is going to bring me more of the same. It's going to tell me, well, this happened in the past and that happened for this and this happened for that. And it's going to bring all of it into the now. But I'm not here to create more of the same. I'm here to innovate. I'm here to quantum leap. I'm here to transform the world. And so the only thing that's going to guide me to doing that is my inner knowing, my soul knowing, my intuition, whatever you want to call it, that gut feeling that you have. And so if you know that knowing is going to guide you to that place, you can surrender to it. You can fall in love with where you're at right now, absolutely, totally and all, and love it the way that the younger version of you would love it, like live it for them. And I know I used this example in another podcast, but I'm going to say it again because this is so relatable to this, is I used to drive by this house every single day that I'm living in right now when I used to drive my son around for naps. And I used to look at this house and I used to envision me, my husband, my son playing in the yard and what it would look like and what it would feel like to be in this house, sitting inside eating dinner. And then one day I realized that us playing in the yard, I'm sitting there playing in the yard, and the younger version of me was driving back and forth looking at the echo of me playing in the yard right now with my son and my husband as I was driving in quantum physics, past, present, futures in the now. So all of those future visions that you see yourself, wherever the visions that you're bringing into this reality are an echo from the future showing you what's coming. There's going to be a moment that you're going to be there if you never give up and you just keep going. And you're going to sit here and you're going to remember how you used to sit here and watch that and envision it. And then now you're there. You've done this so many times. Think about all the dreams and the visions you've already manifested into this reality. So how could you ever doubt that this next vision is not going to manifest into this reality? So the more that you can remove that, the more that you can be so fulfilled and content and love this moment, not hoping that your vision is going to come into this reality, not afraid that it's not, knowing that it is coming if you just show up every single day. And for me, that brought me so much peace to just be in this moment, showing up every single day, listening to my inner knowing, guiding me to the steps to take in aligned action, knowing that I can let go of the steering wheel because the destination is already in Google Maps. It's already been put there. I'm heading there. All I need to do now is listen to when Google Maps tells you to go left or go right. And that's my soul guiding me to go left or go right. I don't need to know why I'm going to go left and right. I don't need to think 10 steps ahead that if I do this, then this will happen and this will happen and this will happen. I get to be strong in the unknown. I get to be strong in the void because that's where the magic happens. I get to know that I just get to show up every single day and let it guide me to a place beyond my wildest dreams and not have to try and control, not try to figure it out. And therefore I don't drain all the energy that I used to drain all the time, which brings me the opposite result. So now we just get to lean into it, knowing that it's unfolding and just staying in our power. One of the things, other than the reprogramming process that I do with all of my clients, is something simple that you can do when the fear and the conditioned mind starts to creep in and tell you all these things. And what if it doesn't work? And what would they think? And all these things is you can just bring your whole consciousness from your head all the way down to your root chakra, all the way down to your womb, your root chakra, whatever power portal you have down there, and pull it down, ground your power into your knowing. And most of the time, the noise in your head will stop because that's just the conditioned mind trying to figure things out, trying to keep you on the old path, trying to keep you safe from all of these things. But if you own the power of your soul, the infinite power of your infinite soul, you get to ground into that knowing and you get to transcend the fear, you get to transcend the limitations, and you get to just keep going in your knowing. The more that you do that, the easier it's going to get. I noticed that a lot of the energy drain that came from my life was just from this. The imagination of all of the things that never happened, the what if it didn't, the fears, all those things. So just simply switch it from what if it doesn't work to what if it does. Any moment your mind goes to what if it doesn't work, ground it into what if it does. It's so simple, but it's very hard. I know it was hard. It gets easier and easier and easier as you go. But the more that you do this, the easier it's going to get, the more that things just start to align, just start to flow, and you start to have so much more ease and peace in your life. Then the next fractal coming up is to detach, to really, I already talked about it and I didn't even notice that was a fractal coming up. But the more detached that we are, the more that the miracles can drop in. The more attached we are to the outcome, the more that we're afraid that the outcome's going to work out or not work out, the more that we put stuff on it that slows it down unnecessarily. So just ground in that knowing that I was talking about. The more that you can ground in that knowing, the more that you can look at your entire life and look at all the times that your knowing brought you something beyond your wildest dreams. Look at all the times that they said you couldn't do it and you did. All the things that you're proud of, all the things that you've already manifested, and compound it over and over and over and over again. Because if you could do that, it is inevitable that you're going to do this. And if you know that it's inevitable and now you're just going to show up every single day, there's no attachment because it's coming. Now you get to just enjoy this life as much as possible while the next life is unfolding or the next chapter is unfolding. So then you also have instability. So the thing that's going to bring you stability is that detachment and that knowing, and pulling your consciousness from your head all the way down into your root chakra, into your power, and grounding into the knowing of your soul, knowing that this 5D reality, we get to have access to our infinite power from our infinite soul. We get to live our soul's journey in this human experience versus being so caught up in the head of the 3D of the conditioned mind in the 3D reality. We get to have both. We get to be here because our souls came here to experience what it's like in this reality, to experience being human. Our souls know don't touch the stove, but they come down to earth to touch the stove, to feel what it feels like to touch the stove so that we can feel the experience. And so we get to be human. We get to feel all the feels. We get to feel the highs, the lows, the celebrations, the sadness, the pain, the love. And then we also, if it gets too much, we get to remember, hang on a second, that's not me. I'm my soul. And my soul is infinite. My soul is limitless. My soul is pure potentiality. And so whatever that pain is and that suffering, it's not mine. I get to transcend it with the power of my soul. So I get to live both. I get to experience both, and I get to flip back and forth. So whenever I'm in it and I feel all the feelings, but then if it gets too overwhelming, I remember nothing can hurt me. If they say something, if I fail, all these things, the only part of me that will get bruised is my ego, but I'm not my ego, I'm my soul. I'm the infinite power from my infinite soul, and I came here to do incredible things and to live this journey and just to experience it. And this is not my first journey. I've lived many journeys. I've lived many lifetimes. I'm not even my ancestral line. I know I might have said this in another podcast, but I'm going to say it again because it's so pertinent to what we're talking about right now. But like, I used to get so caught up with ancestral patterns, and it used to define me until I realized that my soul chose this ancestral line for its patterns, to experience them, to be able to then transcend them. And I've been a part of many different ancestral lines. And so I'm not even this ancestral line. I'm not even the story and the beliefs and the limitations and whatever that is. I get to choose what I want to keep, and I get to choose what I desire to transcend, because underneath it all, I am the pure potentiality of my soul. And so when you really own that and ground in that, it makes it so much easier to shift these limitations and beliefs and all of the things from the conditioned mind. Then you have enough. So knowing where it's enough. It's like, I had this crazy dream last night where like I was so nice to everybody and they just kept taking advantage of me and, screwing me over and backstabbing me and all of these things. And it just kept happening. But I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'm going to believe in them. I'm nice. I'll give them another chance. And through the dream, it just kept happening and happening and happening. At the end of the dream, it just got so much that I said, okay, everybody. And I gathered everybody into the room and I was like, enough. This has been going on. This has been going on. This is not happening. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. And it just was like the most beautiful feeling of just like, I'm drawing a line in the sand. Enough. This is my space. And if you desire to come into my space, we get to honor and respect each other. And if I desire to come into your space, I get to honor and respect you. And I'm no longer going to compromise, because if I do, I'm not serving anybody. I'm not living my truth. I'm keeping us stuck. I'm enabling the situation and the pattern over and over and over again. But I'm taking a stand for me, for you, and for the whole entire world. And so when I had that dream, I woke up and I was like, that's it. I'm claiming it. I'm claiming it. And I was already, doing It's been a work in progress, but then last night it was just like so clear. I woke up in this power. It's like, I stand for me and I stand for my people. We are the spiritual billionaires. And together we're going to transform the world from the inside out. So enough is enough. Enough of all the outside noise, enough of all the external influences, enough of the fears and the worries and the judgments and the opinions and all of that. I'm just going to pull all my energy in and do me in my most authentic, aligned truth and bring that to the world with standards and boundaries. And I know when I play my part that I came here to play, it's going to unlock it for everybody else that came here. Like, let's say our soul said, okay, we're going to come down here, we're going to do this. But you have to do this, otherwise we're going to have to keep doing it over and over and over again. And if I don't do it, we're stuck. But if I do it, it sets both of us free and it unlocks the next chapter for us to do the next thing. And the only way we can do that is by honoring our truth, honoring our sacred yeses and our sacred nos and the aligned action to take every single day, even if it doesn't make sense, even if people do get upset. If we know we're doing it from truth and integrity and pure love, and we're standing for everybody to break the patterns, then if they get upset, it's okay because we can hold it because we know what's coming. And then once it unlocks for all of us, then they get to transcend as well. And then we're all happy, right? But if not, we're just keeping each other stuck in our patterns. And it's enough. The other thing is to know that you're more than enough, because this fractal has so many parts to it. You are born more than enough, because if all of our souls are same power but different. When I was doing a meditation one day, I saw all of us as like cells in this one big being, God, universe, divine. I just saw us all in this one being. And so we are all the same. We are all God, universe, source, divine. We are all same power but different. And then we come here and we pick a character and an ancestral line and patterns and behaviors that we want to experience to then transcend. But underneath it all, we're all same power but different. So how could you ever think that you're not enough if you are the same as everybody's soul, if you are God, source, universe, divine? It's just because we came into this reality that told us that we were not enough and was constantly measuring us that we believed it. But now that we know that, we get to shed it. And we get to know that we're more than enough because we are our soul. And because our souls are all same power but different. And because our souls are God, source, universe, divine. And once you own that, you show up in a completely different way. The next fractal that comes up is permission. And so really realizing you do not need permission from anyone or anything. As a child, we would have needed permission, but we forget that as we grow from a child to an adult, there's a transition period where now we get to make the decisions for our lives. Our parents and society helped us to build this foundation and keep us safe and teach us as much as they could. And then as we become an adult, it becomes our life. And then we become the parents that guide the next generation, but we are the parent, we are the adults. And so we don't have to ask permission to anyone and anything. We just get to let our soul guide us to our truth, to our next level, to our evolution, to our innovations. And we don't have to constantly check, am I doing it right? Do I have permission? What do you think? It's like when you can stay in your lane and when you can really own that, own your truth, own the magic you were meant to bring into this world, own that you're a dreamer, like the dreamers that changed the world, Disney, Edison, the Wright brothers, all the dreamers that dreamt something, stayed in their lane, no matter what it looked like, no matter how many times they failed, and brought it into this reality for them and for us. Own that. You do not need permission. You are here to innovate. Most of the times, the things that you're going to do are not going to make sense, and it's going to scare people, or they're going to judge it. And then when it succeeds, they're going to celebrate you. But are you going to stop because they judged it? Or because they thought it was crazy, or because they were afraid for you? You get to go that extra mile. You get to know, you get to stay in your lane, and you get to own it. Then you also got comfort your inner child. So really just like bringing that playfulness back into life. When we take life so seriously, we kill the magic. Our souls came here to play. Our souls came here to feel all the feels. And so to me, there is no good, bad, right, wrong, failure, success. To me just being here, feeling the feels is a win. Because if my soul just came here to feel and to experience, then in every moment of every single day, if I'm feeling, I've won. If I'm feeling sadness, I've won. If I'm feeling happiness, I've won. There is no finish line. It's just the experience of the feels and what we get to create and what we get to transcend and what we get to evolve and what we get to innovate. So in every single moment, as long as I'm taking a step, it's a win. Whether it's a step that succeeds or whether it's a step that fails, the only time it'll be a failure is if I give up because I failed. But if I get back up and if I harvest the learnings and then I transmute it and then I turn it into my success, then it's still a win. So the more that you can just play the game, the more that you can just have fun. And I know I mentioned this in a masterclass that I had just taught, but it's so important. One of my NLP teachers, he told me this, and he's like, one of the best basketball players in the world has missed the most shots because he took the shot and because he just kept taking the shot and taking the shot and taking the shot. And so that was one thing that completely changed my life because I was taking the shot and then I was beating myself up and then I was wondering and then I was obsessing about it and then I was scared to take the shot again and all of this stuff versus just, okay, take the shot. Okay, harvest the learnings, pivot, do it again, and do it again. And every single day, just do it instead of putting all this meaning on it and then beating myself up for it. And so if you just play the game to play the game and you take the seriousness out of it, think about a part in your life and think about the parts in your life that are just flowing and so easy. People can manifest like crazy on vacation because they're in the flow and they're just so happy and they're having so much fun. Then you come back to reality and all of a sudden you put the serious cap back on. And everything is so serious and you're trying to make this work and you're forcing it and you're pushing it and you're obsessed and you're consumed with it. And if it doesn't work, it means that you're not good enough or that you're not worthy or, all of these things, or that it's never going to work because it's not working yet because the results aren't here yet and all that stuff. How are we ever going to receive magic from that? But if you apply the mindset from vacation and you're just like, I'm creating a business. This is so much fun. I get to create this business and it's inevitable that it's going to be successful. I have no doubt in my mind because if I dreamed it, it's for me. It's my soul showing me what it came here to do. So now I just get to play and bring this into existence. I get to just show up every single day. I just get to take aligned action every single day. I just get to stretch my capacity by doing the uncomfortable stuff and taking the leaps. And I know eventually I'm going to get there. So let's just play and enjoy it so much and have so much fun and share it with the world and stretch, and what do you think is going to happen? The magic that gets to drop in from that energy, and not only the magic that gets to drop in it, how much more fun do you get to have? How much more peace and joy will you have in your life? So just notice if there's an area in your life that's flowing, apply that same mindset and that same meaning to the thing that's stuck. And you'll notice that most of the times that you were too serious, or you were making it mean something, or you were just so focused on the results that it was killing it. But if you know the results are going to show up, you don't need to focus on the results. You get to just focus on becoming and unfolding and growing and evolving. And the next one is pressure. So there's no coincidence. Those fractals both come next to each other, but just take all the pressure off of it. You are more than enough. You are worthy and you are deserving. Claim it, own it, and stand in that power. Anytime you don't think so, you can join one of my programs because we do a ton of reprogramming in there. And you can also take your consciousness from all that noise and pull it down into your power, into your root chakra, into your knowing, and know it and claim it and spend as much time as you can in that energy than in your head. And when you go back up, pull it back down. Pull it back down. It's a lean back energy. It's a Yoda energy. The Yoda knows his power. He owns his wisdom. He's living, I don't know where he is at the ends of the earth, and people find him. They come from all areas of life, everywhere, to find him for his wisdom and for his teachings, and they honor him and they respect him, and he honors and respects them. Lean back into your knowing and pull it into you without the pressure, and then consumed. So they all go together, right? If we're so consumed with it, we can't see We're just so consumed and it's overwhelming and there's no space for the magic to drop in. So take a step back, take a breath, know that it's unfolding for you. Just ground into that power, ground into that knowing, take the pressure off, have fun, play with it. Just be like, what do I get to do today? I know it is inevitable that I'm going to get there. It's already put into Google Maps. So now soul, show me, do I turn left or do I turn right today? As simple as that. Where do I go? What leaps do I take? If it's uncomfortable, then I know I'm going to take the leap because that means it's going to be a bigger leap. It's going to be a bigger quantum leap. In the low points, in the shadow, know that those parts are the parts that you're gathering even more power to then come out more powerfully into the world so that you can flow with it. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not behind. You're exactly where you're meant to be in your development. When you're climbing a mountain, you don't beat yourself up because you're at the bottom of the mountain. You know that you just have to show up every single day and climb that mountain. And the reason why we can't climb that mountain is because it's fun to climb the mountain and get to the top, to feel what it feels like to accomplish getting at the top. But yet when we're building things, we're like, we need to be here and we want to skip over this whole part like the movie Click. And then before you know it, we skipped over everything. And then we're like, well, what's the point? The point is the journey. The point is building and creating something. Like when we're painting something and there's a blank canvas and you're starting, you know what you're painting. People will look at it and be like, oh, what's that? But you know. Just focus on the knowing that you know what you're painting and just show up every single day and paint and enjoy painting. Don't paint because you want to get it done and get it out there, because when you do that, how many people are going to feel the love that you put into the painting and want to buy it? But paint with your essence and the energy, and they can feel that and then they can receive that. The other part is cycles. So ending the old cycle, beginning the new cycle. There was a big planetary alignment that just happened. And so lots of cycles ending, lots of things that are no longer serving us. So just really releasing all of that, starting into this new cycle of this knowing, this neutrality, this ease, this flow, being in the moment. I know we've been saying that forever. Everyone kept telling me, be in the moment. There's no problems in the moment. There's only problems in the past and problems in the future. And I just was like, yeah, I think I get it. But now I get it on a deeper level. If I just know that my intuition, my gut, my knowing is going to guide me to that destination, then I can be in that moment every day. I can tune in the night before and see what's going to bring the most value to my vision through my soul evolution process. If you want the soul evolution process, DM me and I'll send it to you. When you first do that process, you'll have to listen to the audio and go along with it. But after a while, once you know, you just drop down into heart space, tune in, what's going to bring the most value to my vision, and you're just going to know, you're going to see it, and then you take that aligned action, even if it's uncomfortable. That's what I do the night before. Like I have a plan. I'll brain dump it all out on one of those cloud things. I don't know what they're called. You know, you put your business in the center and then you put all the spokes and all of those things. And then sometimes I'll have like the priority actions to do. And then I'll just tune in and I'll just be like, okay, what's going to bring the most impact or value to my vision? And then once I know what it is, I do it without question because it's been guiding me to the most incredible places. And I'm just in that moment doing it with love and with passion, knowing that it's unfolding into that. And so I show up in that different energy. Like even this podcast, like I just had the knowing that even though it's the first day of my moon cycle, which normally I would rest, it was just like, oh, I just like feel this. There's some potency. There's something brewing that wants to come out. And so I get to listen to that and I get to say, okay, I get to bring this out into the world and it feels so good. Something is going to unlock for all of us through these downloads. So I get to bring that to the world and then I get to rest the rest of the day. I get to just honor my cycle as well as my intuition and my gut to know what's going to bring the most value to the world and to my vision. So you get to just release all the pressure and just really just be in that moment and enjoy that moment, be present in that moment. You know, the more present you are in that moment of the thing that you're doing, the more you amplify it and the more you magnetize it. But if you're just rushing through everything just to get it done, there's no potency there. It's like, let's just put in the potency and fuse it with our energy so that people can feel that when they see it and they hear it, because they can feel the potency of the energy that you put into it. Because there's so many strategies out there, and I've done a ton of strategies, but it's who you are when you're doing the strategy that makes the strategy work or not work. The more that we become the next version of ourselves, the more that we stand into our quantum leadership, the more that we stand as a spiritual billionaire, our potency as we do the strategy becomes that much stronger. And so then we quantum leap. Then you also have you are capable. So just really owning, knowing that you have all the skills and tools because you are your infinite power from your infinite soul. You have infinite wisdom, infinite potentiality, infinite magic, miracles, everything coming through you because you are God, source, universe, divine. So you are completely capable. And if you don't know it yet, you get to learn. You get to learn it, you get to practice it, and then you get to master it. But you'll always get there as long as you show up every single day. So if there's something that you don't feel that good at, do it more until it becomes normal. Like the first time I recorded this podcast, I was all over the place. And now each time I do it, it gets easier and easier. And now I love doing this podcast. Now I look forward to doing this podcast because I know I get to bring this message to the world, and whoever's meant to hear it will hear it. And it will activate something in them that day that's going to activate the next person and activate the next person, and we become the ripple. So now I'm going to download everybody. Everybody take a deep breath. And then again. And the other thing about the capable fractal is really reminding yourself how capable you are by all of the most incredible things that you have done in your life already. So if you feel called to it, there's a piece of homework you can do that will amplify all of this. I have a private Facebook group called Wealth Codes. You can go into Wealth Codes and you can share in there everything that you've created in this life, compounding all the things that you created in your life, that you manifested, that people said you couldn't, really claiming it so you can really own your power, knowing how capable you are to bring that next vision into this reality because you've brought all of these other visions into this reality. Because there's a power about claiming it out into the world. So you can put it into the private Wealth Codes group, DM me if you want access to it, or you can post it on your social media or post it into any group, but just claim it, own it, and stand for it in the world, because spiritual billionaires, you stand on the stages, you inspire, you do it, and then you show people that it's possible so that they can do it as well. So claim your power. When everybody does this, it gives everybody else power. So when I read other people's posts that are doing it, and they're like, I did this, and people told me I couldn't do this, and this is what I created from it, and I read it, it shows me, oh my God, if they can do it, I can do it. So not only are you claiming your power, but you're also seeing other people do it and compounding that power within yourself as well too. So if you feel called to doing that, DM me, I'll give you access to the Wealth Codes group and we can all compound together. But have so much fun with these downloads. Play this week. Share with me what comes up, what resonated, what you'd like more downloads for in the next podcast episode. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Have an amazing day.